a secondary church, that social media church, you know what I'm saying? That's going to be, you may never even see these people, but these are people that can support you. These are people that you can support and help grow and become who they need to become. I really believe that come August, it's going to be everybody's going to be trying to stream. But at that point, it's too late. What are we doing? You know what I'm saying? What are we doing? When people really needed to hear from you, they couldn't hear from you. And that's the part that affects me. I even know my wife telling me there was some individuals that, you know, their pastor wasn't prepared. So he had to invite people to come to our stream. Well, that shouldn't be happening. That should never be happening. And so we're looking down the line, what difference does it make if you now, we got it all together now? Well, okay, who's that going to help? We're in the building. And that's one of the biggest issues, I believe, with the church dynamic, is that we have become an entity that focuses more on we're in the house, forget about everybody else. Well, we got to have, we got to make inroads to where people outside of our building can still hear the message of Jesus Christ. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think that that's important.
Right. I think that these are uncharted waters.
Yeah.
And this looking at this chart, I found this chart, and it said, based on March 22nd, it said 85% of churches didn't hold services. 86%.
86%, brother.
86%. So when you look back at that number, just for small churches, medium-sized churches, we didn't even talk about large or mega. We didn't even talk about that. Like, I saw a service with TD Jakes, and it must have been like 20 people in there. And it was just staff, you know, because obviously you got to have somebody to run the gear.
Yeah.
So how do you engage this new dynamic of people? Because the old dynamic is going to turn to the new dynamic.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, like, me personally, like, I've been in a building in a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can't go.
Exactly.
Like, it's not even a pre-going conclusion. Like, I can't go.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, you know, if I'm not engaged, you know, as a believer first, and as a member second, then you could get wayward real quick if you're not. Yeah. You're gonna find that people are gonna fall off if they're connected to the pastor and not the essence.
Exactly.
The force. The savior. They're not connected to him directly. If they're connected through the church or connected through the minister, they're gonna fall off.
Yeah. And it's funny because I had shared that maybe about 3 weeks ago. I said, if you look at where we are now and you recognize how we're doing separately, a lot of us could even make the statement, man, when we was coming to church, I wasn't struggling. I wasn't fighting with this. I wasn't dealing with that. And I said, I think the problem is that you were connected more under a movement, not a kingdom. So if you get connected under the kingdom, it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter what you're doing. The kingdom is what is the driving force that we're supposed to be connected to. But too many people got caught up in a movement. So while Monday through Saturday, I lived like a sinner, but then I came into Sunday and I got reconnected to the movement and felt safe. Now all of a sudden, there's no safety net. It's just you. Like, it's just like I remember a friend of mine said, "Yeah, don't put your daughters in Catholic school." I said, "Why not?" He said, "Because after a while, after what them Catholics do to them, they're gonna feel like they gotta break free. Once they get out there and there's nothing to sustain them, nothing to hold them, they ain't a woman with a stick. They just gonna go buck wild foolish." And a lot of people found themselves in a place where their pseudo foundation fell from under them because it was built upon a person and built upon a movement, what was taking place in our church, as opposed to the kingdom. You know what I'm saying? I think that's key. And I think those 86, I wonder about those 86 people, the 86, that percentile. because what happened to them? Where they are? Where they going to be next week? Next, the 2 months from now? Where they going to be? What church are they going to be connected to? Who met their need?
Right.
If the pastor didn't, who met their need?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's something that we got to think about.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that this is so. Every day, I have to stop watching the news because it can be so disconcerting, and so dark. So what I want to do is try to give solutions and try to provide some solutions to churches, some equipment solutions, some technical solutions on things you should get and things you should do. Yeah. So what do you say to that?
I think that's incredibly important because there needs to be something put in place, not for this to not to be because this may happen again, but because there's a generation out there that, guess what, they're more comfortable not coming to your church, but they'll connect to you on a TV screen, on a monitor. Right. So now let's learn to utilize this place that we were afraid to go to, that we're now in, and now use that to gain that generation that's definitely not going to come to your church. First off, if they wanted to, you failed them because you weren't prepared. So now get prepared and say, okay, well, now let's go after Generation Z, Generation X, and all the other individuals and millennials and stuff, because it's needed. It's needed.
Well, I think for churches that there are three things you can do. First of all, we've been talking about this is online services, live online services, and your primary providers are Facebook Live, YouTube Live. So if you want to do a stream directly to your church's website,
right?
I just ran across some new software. I was telling you about it called vMix. That was pretty dope. I was on the live stream the other night, yesterday. That seemed pretty dope. We talked about OBS, which OBS is a free platform for streaming.
Sure.
And it's an open platform, and then another one is Wirecast, is what we use a lot. We use that in at the podcast studio, Metro Podcast Studio. Use it there. But then you have some people are doing pre-recorded services. They're doing that. And you have some churches that are doing drive-in church, where they take a FM transmitter and FM transmitter. It's kind of like when you go to an amusement park and you're driving through like Safari, and they say, well, turn your radio to 101.15, whatever, and then you can tune in. It's the same thing. So you get an FM transmitter with an antenna. You tell your parishioners to tune into a XYZ channel, and that channel you can tune into.
That's good.
So that's another way. A lot of rural churches are doing that.
Okay.
And so I found that these tools that are now available. But I look at it this way: this is the perfect time for the church to create something for us. Yeah,
you're right.
This is the perfect time.
Yeah, you got to take advantage of it.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yep.
So this is where we put our heads together and say, we got to come up with something for us.